The arrival. The stars were calm, silent, peaceful. But that peace was broken when the Acheron ship Velari Prime entered the unknown star system. It was a large silver vessel, shaped like a crescent moon, glowing softly as it moved. The Acherons were an old alien race, proud, smart, and powerful. They had explored hundreds of worlds. But this system was different. Strange energy signals were coming from one of the outer planets. Signals they could not fully understand. "Captain, we are nearing the source," said the science officer. Captain Vorex, a tall alien with deep red eyes, stood quietly at the front of the bridge. He nodded once, slow to approach. "Send a scan. Let's find out who or what is here." The crew followed orders. Machines beeped. Screens glowed. But then something strange happened. A shadow appeared on their radar. It wasn't a planet. It wasn't a moon. It was a ship. A massive ship. The crew stared at the screen as it zoomed in. It floated in space, silent and still, black in color, shaped like a long spear, with giant arms stretching out like wings. It had no lights, no movement, just a quiet, heavy presence. "What is that?" whispered one of the junior officers. No one answered. Everyone felt something strange. A pressure. Like this ship was not just metal, it was power. Pure power. "Scan it," ordered Captain Vorex. The scan was sent. But before it could finish, it was blocked. The ship didn't fire a weapon. It didn't move. It just blocked their scan, like it knew exactly what they were doing. "Is it alive?" someone asked. "No," said the science officer, her voice shaking. "It's just something else." Captain Vorex looked closer. The ship had a symbol on its side, faded old, but still clear. A blue and white circle with a small shape in the middle. The shape was Earth. "Humans," the captain said. "It's a Terran ship." Gasps filled the room. The Acherons had heard of humans, but only through old records. Some said they had vanished. Others said they lived in isolation. No one had seen a Terran ship in hundreds of years. And now one floated before them. "Try communication," the captain said. The comms officer nodded and sent a greeting in standard galactic code. "This is the Velari Prime of the Acheron Empire. We come in peace. Identify yourself." Silence. They tried again. Still no answer. Then, suddenly, the ship moved. Just a little. Not toward them, but enough to show its size. It was huge. Almost 5 times larger than the Velari Prime. And now, the front of the ship faced them directly. The alien crew froze. Weapons were not active. No threats were made. But it felt like a warning. "Captain," said the tactical officer, "I suggest raising our shields." Captain Vorex gave a slow nod. "Do it." Shields powered up. A soft hum of energy filled the ship. But it brought little comfort. "Send a probe," the captain said. "We need to know more." A small probe launched from the side of the Velari Prime. It flew fast, glowing with blue light. As it neared the Terran ship, it suddenly stopped. Then it vanished. No explosion. No fire. Just gone? "Destroyed?" asked a crew member. "No. Disappeared," said the science officer. "I don't know how." The Terran ship remained silent, still, but now it seemed aware. Moments later, a new signal appeared on their screens. It was a data packet. No sound, no video. Just code. "Translate it," said the captain. The computer worked quickly. Then the words appeared on screen. "Observe and decide." A cold chill went through the room. No one spoke. Captain Vorex stood straight. His voice was calm, but firm. "This is not a simple ship. This is a message from Earth." The crew looked to him for answers, but the truth was, he had none. He turned toward the stars outside and spoke quietly. "We came for first contact. But now I fear we are the ones being tested." Far outside, the Terran ship remained still watching. Waiting. Asterisk. No signal. No fear. The silence was louder than any weapon. The alien ship Velari Prime floated in front of the massive Terran warship. It didn't move. It didn't fire. But somehow, its quiet presence was more dangerous than anything the Akrans had seen. Inside the Akron Ridge, the crew was tense. Every screen showed the same thing. A black, spear-shaped human ship with glowing red lines along its sides. The only message it had sent was short. Observe. Then decide. But observe what? And decide how? Captain Vorax paced slowly. He was a strong leader, but even he couldn't hide the concern in his eyes. He stopped beside the tactical officer. "Still no signal?" He asked. "No, sir. It's as if they don't want to talk. Or they think we're not worth talking to." The captain stared at the warship. "Then we must make them listen." Beside him, the science officer stood. Her name was Kale. She was quiet, smart, and trusted. "Captain," she said softly, "this ship, it's not just advanced. It's ancient. Powerful. Its systems are hidden. Its energy is silent. That kind of control means one thing." "What?" he asked. "It's not afraid of us." Captain Vorax nodded slowly. "So, we are children in front of a sleeping dragon." Without waiting, Kale stepped forward. "I suggest we try a small scan pulse. It might show we're curious, not hostile." The captain allowed it. A gentle scan pulse went out, non-aggressive, low energy. The moment it touched the Terran ship, every screen on the Velari Prime went black for 2 full seconds. Darkness. Then the power returned. And the words on every screen changed to one sentence. "We gave you a chance." The crew panicked. Some stood up. Some reached for weapons. Alarms beeped, but Captain Vorax shouted, "Stand down. Do not fire." They obeyed. Barely. Kale looked at her screen again. No damage. No virus. Just complete control for 2 seconds. The ship wasn't defending itself. It was proving a point. "Captain," said the comms officer, "something new is happening." A beam of light shot out from the Terran ship, but not toward them. It hit empty space and created a floating hologram. It was massive and bright. It showed something terrifying. A burning planet. Cities in ruin. Skies red. Oceans boiling. A voice played softly with the image. "This is what comes when you ignore warnings." Then the image changed. This time, it showed earth-green forests, blue oceans, glowing cities. And again, a message. "This is what comes when peace is chosen. 2 paths, one of fire, one of peace." Captain Vorax stood frozen. "They're not threatening us. They're giving us a choice." Kale whispered, "But they're also watching what choice we make." The junior officer at weapons leaned closer. "So if we fire, we burn?" Nobody answered. Just then, another alert flashed. A small black box floated out of the Terran ship. It was slow, blinking gently, moving toward them. A gift? A trap? Captain Vorax gave the order. "Capture it carefully. Don't open it yet." A tractor beam pulled the box inside. It sat in a sealed chamber. Nothing happened. Then their translation. System lit up again. Knowledge or destruction. Open when you're ready. The room went quiet again. Kale turned to the captain. "They want us to think, not react." He nodded. "But the question is, what do they already know about us?" As the crew watched the black ship in space, one thing was clear. It could destroy them in seconds. But it hadn't, because it didn't need to. The Terran ship was beyond fear, beyond reason. It wasn't here to fight. It was here to judge. Power without words, The black box sat untouched inside the sealed chamber of the Velari Prime dot. It didn't glow. It didn't beep. It just waited calm, cold, and quiet. Captain Vorax stood in front of the screen, his hands behind his back. Every officer on the bridge waited for his order. "Open it," he said at last. Kale, the science officer, activated a small scanning device. A blue light passed over the box. No explosives. No energy fields. Just data, she reported. It's like a black recorder. Or a warning. She tapped a control. The box opened silently, unfolding into a flat surface. Then a hologram appeared, bright, sharp, and terrifying. It showed the Terran ship. Firing. One blast. Just one. The hologram zoomed out, showing the weapon's path across space. It passed a moon, slicing it clean in half. It struck a hostile warship in the distance, twice the size of the Velari Prime, and erased it from existence. No debris. No flame. Just gone. The room fell silent. Did that really happen? Someone whispered. Kale checked the data. Yes, the star pattern in the background matches an old sector, about 50 light-years from here. The Terran ship destroyed that vessel with one focused shot from this exact model. Captain Vorax stared at the still-hanging image. That's not a weapon, he said quietly. That's a final word. They now knew what this ship could do. And yet it had not done it. That silence was power. That restraint was a message. Just then, the Terran ship moved again. Very slowly, just a few meters, almost like a stretch. And a soft wave of energy passed through space. Not harmful, but impossible to block. The alien ship's screens began to display something new. A list. It was long. Thousands of names. Planets. Civilizations. Some marked with a single icon. A green light. Peace. Others had a red mark. Destroyed. A message followed. Earth remembers. Earth chooses. Kale's hands trembled. These are all the species who met humanity. Some became allies. Others were wiped out. Captain Vorax pointed to a highlighted name. Acheron Empire. Status unknown. Everyone on the bridge turned toward him. It was clear now. They were under judgment. Down in the engine bay. A junior technician noticed something else. "Sir," he called through the comms, "our energy levels are dropping. Not from damage, it's like the Terran ship is gently draining power, showing us it can." Captain Vorax gave the order. Shut off all offensive systems. Power down. Let them see our choice. And then something unexpected happened. The Terran ship powered up. Not weapons, but lights. The entire frame of the massive warship lit up in patterns blue waves, pulsing from the center outward like veins. The ship turned slowly, revealing a large emblem across its rear engine wall. It was a human symbol. One word, written in ancient Terran script. Kale read the translation out loud. Vigilant. The Terran warship was not here for war. It was here to watch. To remind. To warn. The Velari Prime floated still. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Every crew member now understood. First contact had already happened, and it was not with words. It was with power. Asterisk. The diplomatic error. The alien ship Velari Prime remained still, floating under the silent gaze of the human warship Vigilant. No shots had been fired, but no one dared to breathe easy. On the bridge, Captain Vorax stood like a statue. The human ship had shown incredible power, but had not attacked. It had only spoken through images, data, and silence. "It's testing us," he said calmly, "and so far we have not failed." Kale, the science officer, nodded. "They are watching everything, measuring our choices." But not everyone agreed. A young officer, Jarn, stood at the edge of the command platform. His eyes were sharp. His voice was bitter. "We are the Acheron Empire," Jarn said. "We do not bow. We do not fear." Captain Vorax turned to him. "This is not fear, Lieutenant. This is understanding." "Or weakness," Jarn replied. The captain's eyes narrowed. "We are still alive. That is strength." But Jarn had already made up his mind. He returned to his post quietly. No one noticed he activated a secret command under his panel, an old Acheron stealth drone, still loaded in the hangar bay deep inside the Velari Prime. The small black drone came online. It was invisible to most sensors, silent in space, and, faster than a missile, left the ship like a whisper. Its target, the Vigilant. On the bridge, Kale gasped. "Something just left us." A small signal headed toward the Terran ship. Vorax turned sharply. "Who launched it?" The weapons officer checked his screen. "It wasn't authorized, sir." "It's a stealth drone." The captain's heart dropped. "Get it back, now." But it was too late. The drone was already close. Suddenly, the Vigilant shifted. Just slightly. Its forward cannons did not power up, its shields did not glow. But a pulse of invisible force spread out from its hull. The drone froze mid-flight, then cracked into pieces and vanished into dust. No sound. No light. Just erased. On the Velari Prime, alarms exploded. Kale shouted, "We didn't do anything. It acted on its own." The Terran ship didn't respond, but it didn't need to. The Vigilant powered up. This time, not slowly. Its full systems. Came online. Rows of red lights lit up along its body. A deep hum filled space. Energy waves pulsed from the core outward, forming a shield so thick it bent the light around it. Every screen on the Velari Prime flashed red. Captain Vorax gave one order: "Do not move. Do not fire." Kale whispered, "They warned us. Observe. Then decide." Suddenly, a message flashed across their screens. But it was different this time. The message was not text. It was a live image. Inside the human ship, they could see a dark control room, large, glowing screens, silent human officers, standing still. In the center sat one figure. Human. A man in a dark uniform. Pale eyes, still like stone. He looked straight into the camera and spoke just one sentence. "This is your only warning." Then the screen went black. On the bridge, Jarn stepped forward, ashamed. "Captain." "Don't speak," Vorax said coldly. "You almost killed us all." Kale turned to the captain. "Why didn't they destroy us? They could have." Vorax looked out at the Vigilant. It was massive, alive, awake now. "They didn't destroy us," he said, "because they want us to carry this story. They want the galaxy to know." The human ship didn't vanish. Instead, it turned slightly, revealing new engines at the back. Engines that pulsed with unknown energy. Then it began to move slowly, but faster than anything the Acherons had seen. In seconds. It disappeared into deep space. Gone. But a new signal appeared. Simple coordinates and one final line. "When you are ready, come, but not before." Vorax looked at the message. His voice was quiet. "They've given us a choice, a real one." He turned to his crew. This was not just first contact. This was a lesson. And far behind them, in the dark of space, the stars remained silent. But now, they all knew who watched them from the shadows. Asterisk. Terran silence. The Terran ship Vigilant was gone. No sound. No trail. No signal. Just a shadow in memory and a warning in silence. On the bridge of the Velari Prime, no one spoke for a long time. The crew sat frozen, staring at the dark void. Where the warship had vanished, Captain Vorax broke the silence. "Damage report?" "None." the tactical officer replied quietly. They didn't touch us. They didn't need to, Kale whispered. The black box still sat in the sealed chamber, its surface now cold, its purpose fulfilled. The holograms were gone. The message was clear. Observe, decide, survive. In the war room, Vorex met with his top officers. A replay of the human man's face hovered in the air, calm, emotionless, terrifying. He didn't threaten us, Kale said. No, the captain agreed. He judged us. Why not destroy us, Captain? Asked one officer. We broke trust. We launched a stealth drone. Vorex turned to him. Because we are not enemies yet. But they wanted us to feel how close we were. Back on the bridge, the crew received a final signal from the area where Vigilant vanished. It was faint, barely readable. A single word. Remember. Kale read it through 5 filters. It wasn't just a signal. It was part of a larger pattern. A string of coordinates appeared, pointing to a distant system at the edge of known space. She turned to Vorex. They've left us an invitation. He looked at the screen. No, not an invitation. A challenge. The crew tried to resume operations, but nothing felt normal. Sensors were quiet, but everyone looked over their shoulders. Every beep made someone flinch. Even the stars felt. Different. In the lower decks, Charn sat alone. He had disobeyed orders. Had risked everyone. But instead of punishment, Vorex had simply said, learn. And that word burned more than any anger. Kale returned to the sealed box. She opened the last data layer. Locked behind a puzzle of code. Inside was a simple video. An old Earth city. Peaceful, green, with children playing in a park. Then a fade. To black. Text appeared. This is what we protect. Another frame. A burning battlefield. Silence. Ashes. This is what happens when we are forced to fight. Tears filled her eyes. The humans weren't just warriors. They were survivors. And they had learned to warn before they fought. Captain Vorex stood before his crew once more. We set out to explore a new system, he said. Instead, we met a species that doesn't ask for power. It holds it. He paused. And it gave us something rare in the stars. A choice. The Velari Prime turned back toward home. No war. No glory. Just understanding. In the quiet halls of womb. The ship. Every footstep echoed with the same thought. Humanity did not speak loudly. Because it didn't need to. Its silence was enough. Asterisk. The countdown. The stars ahead looked peaceful. But no one on the Velari Prime felt peace. 3 days had passed since the Vigilant disappeared. The crew was on their way back to the Acheron core worlds. Engines hummed gently. Lights glowed steady. Everything looked normal. But inside, minds were not calm. Captain Vorex sat alone in his chamber. The image of the Terran warship replayed in his thoughts. Its dark hull, its red glowing lines. Silence it carried like a storm that had not yet hit. He remembered the face of the human commander. No anger, no hate, just certainty. A kind of confidence only those who knew they would win ever showed. On the lower decks, Kale examined the last piece of Terran data. Her fingers tapped the screen carefully. The code was buried under many layers. But something strange appeared, now something new. It was a countdown. A digital timer, silent and pulsing. It read, 72 hours 0 minutes and 0 seconds. Then, 71 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds. 71 hours 59 minutes and 58 seconds. Her eyes widened. She called Vorex immediately. Minutes later, the captain, Kale, and 2 officers stood around the projection. Are we sure this came from them? The captain asked. Yes, Kale said. It was hidden inside the final message. We missed it earlier. What happens when it reaches 0? One officer asked. Kale didn't answer right away. Then she said slowly, it's not a weapon countdown. It's a decision countdown. Vorex looked at her. Meaning? She stared at the numbers ticking away. They gave us time. To choose. To respond. Maybe even to act. And if we don't? She looked at the captain with fear in her voice. Then they may not ask again. The bridge of the Velari Prime was quiet as the crew watched the countdown. No message. No threat. A ticking reminder. Set course to the origin of the signal, Vorex said suddenly. The helmsman blinked. Sir? You want to go back? Vorex nodded. Yes. I want to see if they're still watching. But what if this countdown is a trap? Another officer asked. The captain turned toward him. Then at least we walk toward it with our eyes open. As the ship changed course, something strange happened. The lights on the ship flickered for a second. Just 1 second. Every screen flashed the same. Message only once. Time doesn't wait. Then everything returned to normal. Kale turned to the captain. That was them. A signal planted inside our systems. So they're still here, Vorex whispered. Or they never left. As the ship moved through space, the Acherans passed. A nearby moon. There was nothing unusual until the moon's shadow shifted slightly. Then the scanners lit up. A shape dot. It was huge, long, silent, floating, just inside the moon's shadow. The vigilant dot. It hadn't gone anywhere. It had simply gone. Quiet again. A message came instantly, this time in plain text. Still watching. Captain Vorex's heart pounded. No weapons were aimed. No threats followed. Just the presence of the ship. And the ticking timer, 62 hours, 17 minutes, and 2 seconds. 62 hours, 17 minutes, and 1 second. Vorex stood tall and spoke loud to his crew. This is not war. This is not fear. This is something greater. He looked out the window at the Terran ship. This is the moment where we must decide what we are. Back on Earth, in a secret command room, the human commander watched the Velari Prime return. A younger human officer asked, "Should we activate the second protocol?" The commander shook his head. No. They came back on their own. Let's see what they choose. He paused. And if they choose wrong? The commander didn't smile. He simply said, then the countdown ends. And history begins again. The legacy of contact. The Velari Prime drifted silently in front of the Terran warship Vigilant once more. But this time, it felt different. There was no fear in the crew's eyes, only understanding. The countdown continued. 48 hours, 0 minutes, and 3 seconds. 48 hours, 0 minutes, and 2 seconds. Captain Vorex stood on the bridge, staring at the giant Terran ship that had not moved or spoken again. No weapons were raised. No threats were sent. Just that silent pressure. Like the galaxy itself was holding its breath. Kale stepped beside. The captain. Her voice was calm now. Why show all of this, but not speak again? Vorex replied softly, because they already said everything. She nodded slowly. Then, the countdown isn't about destruction. It's about choice. He turned to the crew. All of you, listen. The bridge became still. We were explorers, but now we are witnesses. We were proud, but now we must be wise. These humans, they hold peace in one hand and fire in the other. And they gave us the chance to choose which one we'll face. Suddenly, a signal came in again. No video, no hologram. Just a small data packet labeled last message. Kale opened it. A voice played. It was the human commander. Calm, clear. You came curious. You leave changed. That is the mark of intelligence. That is the beginning of peace. There was a pause. Then he said, others came with weapons. They left with ashes. You came with questions. You leave with knowledge. And then one final line. We are not gods. We are survivors. We protect peace, Because we've lived through the opposite. A message ended, and the Vigilant began to turn away, slowly drifting back into the shadows of space. No jump, no light. It simply faded, as if it was part of space itself. Gone again. The countdown disappeared. No explosion. No war. Just silence. The Velari Prime turned homeward once more. But this time, their ship was different. Not damaged, but awakened. At the Acheron Grand Council, Captain Vorex stood before the High Rulers. Behind him, the black box sat silently. He spoke without fear. We found no planet, no station, no colony. We found them. He looked around the chamber. They gave us no treaty, no trade, no demand. They gave us a chance. One ruler leaned forward. To do what? To change, Vorex said. Before it's too late. That night, the story of the Vigilance spread across Acheron space. No one questioned its power. But more importantly, no one questioned its mercy. Back in deep space, on the edge of a quiet system, the Vigilant powered down again. Inside, the human commander watched the stars. A young officer approached. Do you think they understood? The commander didn't answer right away. He looked out into the dark, and then he spoke. They will, because sometimes the loudest message is the one spoken in silence. Asterisk.